full circle on this, and here to help explain what is going on in America and in Florida and in Tampa Bay and beyond, Vincent Arcuri, a well-known real estate agent who has been in the market now for decades. Vincent, you've also been studying other data that you have access to. What are you seeing right now, and where does the housing market go from here?
Well, traditionally, when you see interest rates on the rise, you're definitely going to decrease the buying power of the average person that's applying for a mortgage. So this really isn't going to impact the cash buyers per se. It will to a degree that there's less people bidding with financing, and it's going to also bring their price point down. So anytime you see interest rates on the rise, decrease in buying power for the buyers, and that's going to impact the market.
And buying power is something you can actually measure. You were telling me earlier, you can actually see how buying power is starting to shrink.
Right, well, we had the historically low interest rates in January, and just in the first quarter, just from January to the end of March, you've seen the average buyer on an $800,000 buyer, their buying power went down over $100,000. If you factor in another month into that, they're almost at $150,000. So everything it's all about the mortgage and what their mortgage payment's going to be. So if the prices are at a high level and they can't qualify it, and it's going to bring the entire market down with it to fit in with those mortgage changes.
Walk me through the scenario here. If I'm a buyer, I'm a seller. What does the next year bring for me?
Well, I think these interest rates are going to continue to rise, and I think the people that were waiting, I mean, frankly, you waited too long. I mean, we're definitely seeing a shift in the market happening now. You see inventory, as you mentioned, is definitely on the rise. These houses are not flying off the shelves in the manner that they were a year ago. Now, in certain parts of Tampa, I'm sure people are saying, well, if you're in South Tampa, or if you're in North Tampa in the Steinbrenner School District, those super hot areas are going to be the last to cool off. So you still might have some hot pockets, but the market overall is definitely cooling off.
Where are you seeing that cool down, by the way? Is this in pockets like in South Florida or Southwest Florida? Is it popping up?
Well, you see areas like Miami, Sarasota, those areas are starting to see. There was a recent survey that came out and had the 15 previously hottest markets that are starting to see a regression. And some of those average price reductions in those areas as the houses languish on the market, the sellers are used to seeing them sell immediately. You're seeing price drops of $20,000, $30,000 in those areas.
So it seems like if I'm a buyer or a seller, the window of opportunity is closing here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with the rates were so low for so long, everybody just expected they were going to continue forever, and as everybody's seeing right now, that's just not happening. It's another cycle of the real estate industry that we're coming out of.
Okay, what about rent? Because that's always been another option for people who are trying to, say, bridge between two different situations if they want to wait it out, rent for a year, whatever. But it's just made it so hard, and people are, getting squeezed on both ends. This is not usual, right, for rents to be up at the same time as everything else?
Yeah, in over 30 years of selling real estate in the Tampa Bay area, I've never seen rents high at the same time that real estate market is high. And you haven't seen the rents slack up at all. So there's still a hot pocket for that. But I think if there's any light at the end of the tunnel for the people that are renting, you are seeing a little bit of a restriction in the real estate market, and that gives them hope that maybe at the end of their lease they would be able to buy instead of getting into these 25 offers on every home.
And so at the end of the day, is it still better to buy than to rent?
I think long term, I mean, you look at the long-term history, just look at what's happened over the last couple of years. I mean, last year, the values in Tampa were up 26%. I mean, your rent, at the end of your rent term, that also went up. But if you own the home, you would have had the equity. So even with the market restricting a little bit, it was obviously smarter to buy.
And we're a bit ahead of this story. I mean, but this seems like it's going to play out the way we're talking here.
Yeah, I absolutely think that you're going to continue to see, as these interest rates rise, you're going to continue to see inventory build up in Tampa, which is great for all the buyers that have been sitting on the sidelines. There's going to be inventory available to you.
The ebb and flow, the balance, Vincent Arcuri on top of it all.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's get into the conversation about all of this. Joining us this week on the panel, he is a professor of economics at the University of Tampa. Thomas Stockwell is joining us here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
She is the distinguished USF political science professor, Dr. Susan McManus, joining us once again. This recent ABC News Washington Post poll that came out showed that most Americans right now trust the Republicans to handle the economy. But what can the president really do at this point to manage what many think is an inevitable recession?
Well, you know, I think we're seeing an economy that has a ton of inflation going on. I think that's at the forefront of every consumer's mind right now. I think the one thing that the president could do was maybe if he had a time machine, we could go back in time and, you know, maybe, you know, not have as much expansionary fiscal policy going on. Maybe don't keep, and I know this isn't the president's job, but maybe don't keep interest rates quite as low for so long. Right. Don't increase the money supply by as much as we did in the aftermath of the Great Recession. And I think if we could do that, that would be a good step in the right direction.
Well, the Republicans seem like a house divided too when it comes to solutions, Susan. I mean, they're talking about, you know, Rick Scott's out there saying I got an 11-point plan that would raise taxes on everyone, including low-income Americans. But even the president of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, says we're not doing that.
Of course, and it's not gotten any traction. So Scott's plan is DOA, dead on arrival. And now the Republicans are very unified. They're highly critical of what the president and the Fed have done in terms of tackling inflation, because they sense this is a great issue for them in terms of heading into the midterm election, which is only a few months away. So they are very happy to be united about what's wrong with the economy. The burden on them, should they take back both houses of the Congress, the
right.
Senate and the House, is that they have to suddenly come up with solutions themselves.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, you have to have a plan. You
right.
can't just criticize whoever's in power, which
right.
is convenient. But, you know, are some of these economic issues better solved on the local level, whether it's the state, Governor DeSantis, especially things like housing, or even, you know, the mayors of Florida cities?
I think absolutely, you know, especially, you know, housing is, you know, one of those things, again, at the forefront of a lot of consumers' mind. You know, millennials are getting to that age where they're in that prime house buying stage, and that's fueled a lot of demand for housing. And since the aftermath of the Great Recession, we haven't had the supply of housing meet the demand for housing. And I do think that's definitely something that the local level can do better.
All politics are local. We like to say it all the time.
Property insurance special session, critical to Republicans. And that's a state decision that has to be made quickly.
All right, guys, thank you. Stick around, because next on Full Circle Florida, the lightning round. What should we be looking out for in the week ahead?